I'm Lena, 32, bathed in the dazzling light of my 15th floor office in Los Angeles when Jake's email hits me like a brutal blow. I'm taking the company back, Lena. Sophie and I will turn it into a legend, something you could never do. My heart shatters, tiny pieces scattering across the cold wooden floor. Jake, my 36-year-old husband, once my right-hand man in the event empire I built with blood, sweat, and sleepless nights, now wants to rip it from my grasp just to chase Sophie, a naive 21-year-old with sparkling eyes and a fake smile. I collapse into my chair, breath racing, but then a cold smile creeps across my lips. He doesn't know I've been waiting for this day, ready to turn his nightmare into reality. It all started 4 years ago when Jake and I founded Dreamscape Events. I was the dreamer, crafting lavish parties for Hollywood stars, stunning events that left the city in awe. Jake, with his charming smile and quick mind, was someone I trusted completely. We married after a year of working together, and I thought it was a movie-perfect love story. Two souls fused by passion and ambition. But now, staring at my computer screen, all I see is a shameless traitor, a man ready to crush everything we built just to prove he's still young, still worth something to a girl a decade his junior. His email doesn't stop there. "You've held me back too long, Lena. Sophie has vision, energy, things you've lost." Each word feels like a hand squeezing my heart, but a flame of rage flares in my chest. Held him back. I'm the one who stayed up late negotiating with clients, racing across Los Angeles for the perfect venues, turning Dreamscape into a name even top directors chase. And Jake? He just showed up in flashy suits, shaking hands, and stealing praise that was mine. Sophie, with her 21 years and fake innocence, might have blinded him, but she knows nothing about the cost of success, the price I paid with every exhausted breath. I click the email shut, fighting to keep my hands from trembling with the fury boiling inside. Outside my window, LA's golden sunlight pours over skyscrapers, a reminder that this is a city of dreams, and a place where traitors get exposed. I stand, stepping to my desk, where photos of Dreamscape's biggest events sit neatly lined up. A blockbuster premiere for an A-list star, a billionaire's extravagant birthday bash, an awards gala the world watched on TV. All my work, not Jake's. He wants to steal it? Destroy my dream to start fresh with Sophie? I'll show him he picked the wrong fight. But I don't rush. Not yet. I take a deep breath, letting the cool air from the AC calm the heat in my head. Jake might think he's got the upper hand with that email, maybe smirking next to Sophie in some ritzy Beverly Hills cafe. But he doesn't know I've seen the signs for months. Secret meetings he didn't invite me to. Hushed calls he cut short when I walked in. Forgotten revenue reports from big contracts. All pieces I've quietly collected. He thought I was blind, weak from loving him. He was wrong. I'm not just a wife. I'm a warrior, armed and ready to defend what's mine. I sit back down, open my laptop, and type a short reply. "Good luck, Jake. Enjoy this game while it lasts." I hit send, feeling like I've just dropped a ticking time bomb. He'll read it, scoff, think I'm desperate. But he doesn't know it's not a plea. It's a warning. I lean back in my chair, gazing at the sprawling LA skyline, a strange power rising within me. He wants a war? I'll give him a battle he'll never forget. This didn't start with that email. It's been simmering for months, ever since I noticed Jake wasn't the man I fell for. One night, he left the office with a cryptic smile, texting nonstop, and when I asked, he brushed it off. "Just work, don't worry." But I'm not naive. I started watching, suspecting, then acting. I didn't sit around waiting for his knife in my back. I hired a PI, a college friend named Tony, to tail him. I saved every email, contract, and deal Jake thought I'd overlook. I locked in secret agreements with Dreamscape's biggest clients, ensuring they'd stick with me, not him. He wants to ruin me? He'll soon learn I'm no easy prey. I stand again, walk to the window, and look down at the buzzing traffic below. Los Angeles is my city, the place I fought to claim my spot. Jake can dream of a new empire with Sophie, but I won't let him steal my sweat and tears. His email isn't the end, It's the start of his downfall. And I, Lena, will be the one holding the torch to burn his illusions to ash. I stand there by my office window, the radiant LA sunlight warming my face, but inside, a storm rages. Jake's email wasn't the sucker punch he thought it was. It was just the final straw, the last alarm in a chain of clues I'd tried to ignore, until I couldn't pretend anymore. I turn back to my desk, pull out my chair, and let memories drag me back to the days I thought Jake was my ally, my rock. But now, looking back, I see every crack, every lie, every moment he showed his true colors. It started 6 months ago when I noticed Jake's eyes no longer held the admiration they once did. Instead, he grew distant, cold, like I was a burden, not the one who'd lifted him from nothing. I remember the night he came home late from a meeting in Santa Monica. He walked in with a faint whiff of perfume, not mine, and a forced smile plastered on his face. "Tough client," he muttered, shedding his jacket and dodging my gaze. I nodded, playing along, but my heart pounded with a gut feeling I couldn't shake. The next day, I checked the company schedule. No meeting in Santa Monica. That was the first time betrayal's chill seeped into my bones. Then more signs crept in, like pieces of a puzzle I didn't want to solve. He changed the company laptop password without telling me, claiming security. Once, I walked into the office while he was on the phone, his voice a hushed, secretive murmur. He hung up fast, flashing an awkward grin. "Just an investor, no big deal." But I caught the panic flickering in his eyes, the look of a man hiding something. I started paying attention, and the picture sharpened. He skipped crucial meetings, leaving me to face client pressure alone. He forgot to report revenue from major deals, shrugging when I asked, "I thought you'd handled it." But I'm not a fool. I knew he was up to something behind my back, and I vowed not to be his victim. I didn't just sit there waiting for Jake's final blow. I acted, quietly, fiercely, like a warrior gearing up for the fight of my life. First, I called Tony, an old college buddy turned private investigator in downtown LA. On a rainy afternoon, my voice trembling but firm, I said, "Tony, I need your help. I think Jake's betraying me, not just in our marriage, but with the company." Tony didn't pry. "Send me the details, I'll get the truth," he replied. A week later, he sent the first report. Photos of Jake with a young woman, Sophie, at a swanky Hollywood bar. She beamed, her hand on his shoulder, like they'd known each other forever. Staring at that picture, I felt my chest rip open, but I didn't cry. Instead, I clenched my fists and whispered, "Thanks, Tony, keep digging." But I didn't stop at gathering dirt. I knew Jake wasn't just cheating, he wanted Dreamscape for himself. So I built an unbreakable shield. I secretly met with our biggest clients: awards show organizers, famous directors, tech billionaires. Over dinners at posh Beverly Hills restaurants, I flashed a pro smile and said, "I want our partnership to stay rock solid. Sign new contracts, with me, not Jake." They agreed without hesitation, knowing I was the brains behind every dazzling event. I archived every document, email, and transaction Jake thought I'd miss. I opened a hidden bank account, funneling profits from big deals there, leaving just enough in our joint one to keep him clueless. Every move was an arrow notched, ready to pierce the heart of my betrayer. Once, Jake nearly caught me. I was working late when he burst in, eyes narrowing as I snapped my laptop shut. "What's got you so jumpy?" he asked, half joking, half suspicious. I smiled calmly. "Just prepping for next week's event. You know how it is, work never stops." He nodded, but his gaze lingered on my desk. My pulse hammered, yet I kept my cool. He had no idea my laptop held a goldmine. Emails to Sophie, recordings of him promising investors he'd cut me out. I'd captured every sweet lie, every second he thought he was smarter than me. I wasn't just defending, I was gearing up to strike back. I reached out to Rachel, a razor-sharp LA lawyer who'd won million-dollar cases for stars. We met at a quiet Pasadena cafe, where I handed her a thick stack of files and said, Jake wants to steal my company. I need you to help me keep it and make him pay. Rachel skimmed the evidence, her smile icy. He doesn't stand a chance, Lena. You've done brilliantly. When he makes his move, we'll be ready. I nodded, feeling like I'd found a fierce ally in this storm. For months, I lived in two worlds. Outside, the cheerful wife and devoted dreamscape leader. Inside, a warrior sharpening her blade. I smiled at Jake each morning, cooked him dinner, even nodded at his big vision talks. But every smile was a mask, every nod a step in my plan. He didn't know I'd seen Sophie in the office 2 months ago, posing as an intern, with twinkling eyes and a sugary voice. He didn't know I'd overheard his call to her. Once Lena's out, it's ours. And he sure didn't know I was ready to turn his dreams to dust. Standing up from my desk, cold coffee in hand, I glance at LA again. This city doesn't forgive the weak, and I won't be one of them. Jake wants to play this game? I'll show him I'm the one writing the rules. I'm in my office, gripping a cold coffee mug, staring at LA's glittering night skyline. My mind locked on one thought. It's time. Jake doesn't waste a second to land his killing blow. 2 days after his smug email, an invite, or more like a dare, lands in my inbox for a press conference at the swanky Beverly Wilshire. Dreamscape Events announces leadership change. The subject reads. My heart thumps, not from fear, but excitement. Does he really think he can steal my company in front of the world? I flash a chilling smile, set the mug down, and mutter, Fine, Jake. Let's see who laughs last. That day, I stride into the Beverly Wilshire's grand hall, looking flawless. A fitted black dress screams confidence, red heels blaze like fire, and my eyes cut like steel. The crowd's already buzzing, reporters, clients, partners, and curious Hollywood faces. Jake's up on the podium, his sleek gray suit hugging him, a smug grin glowing like he's just won it all. Beside him stands Sophie, 21, in a short, sparkly dress, her innocent eyes hiding greed. He launches into his speech, voice smooth as a pro actor. Dreamscape Events needs a shakeup. I, Jake Carter, will lead it into a new era with Sophie's fresh vision. She gets the future of events better than anyone. The room hums, flashes pop. I stand at the back, blood boiling, but I stay silent, waiting. He keeps going, arrogance dripping. Lena did fine, but she's out of ideas. She's held us back too long. It's time Dreamscape belongs to those who dare to dream big. A few claps echo, but I hear doubt in the air. He thinks he can smear me, paint me as a has-been in front of everyone? He's dead wrong. I step forward, heels clicking proudly on the marble floor, every eye swinging to me. Jake spins around, his grin freezing, panic flashing in his eyes. Lena? He stammers. Sophie frowns, clearly not expecting me. I smile, not the soft smile of a wife, but the grin of a warrior ready to strike. Sorry to crash your party, Jake, I say, my voice ringing clear and sharp as a blade. But if you're talking Dreamscape, everyone deserves the truth. The room goes dead quiet, tension thick as fog. I pull a USB from my purse, holding it high so the flashes catch it. This is what you don't want them to see, I declare, striding to the projector the hotel staff set up at my secret request. Jake lunges at me, but I sidestep, my glare stopping him cold. Sit down, Jake. Your game's over. I plug in the USB, and the giant screen behind the podium lights up with emails Tony dug up. One from Jake to Sophie. Once Lena's out, it's all ours. She suspects nothing. The crowd's whispers swell. I hit play, and Jake's slick, smug voice fills the air. I met the investors. They'll fund us if Lena's gone. She's just a roadblock. The room erupts, murmurs turning to angry shouts. Jake goes pale, sweat rolling down his face. Sophie stumbles back, eyes wide with panic, like she just realized she bet on the wrong horse. This is who you'd trust with Dreamscape? I ask, voice icy, facing the crowd. A liar, a traitor who plotted to steal it from the one who built it? I turn to Jake, my glare blazing. You think you're smarter than me, Jake? That I'd let you walk over me without a fight? He sputters, grasping at straws. Lena, you've got it wrong. This was just PR. But no one buys it. The crowd's boos drown him out, and I spot a reporter's camera capturing his every flailing second. I'm not done. I pull out my final ace, a stack of contracts I signed with Dreamscape's top clients, locking them to me alone. Here's what you didn't know, Jake, I say, tossing the papers at his feet. Every key client chose me, not you. You've got nothing but lies and a naive girl who doesn't get what success costs. Sophie flushes, turning away, humiliated in the harsh spotlight. Jake clenches his fists, but the arrogance in his eyes is gone, replaced by raw desperation. The press conference ends in chaos. Reporters swarm me, firing questions. When did you know? What's next? I keep it short, voice proud. I knew when he started lying, and I'll keep building Dreamscape, solo. Security drags Jake out, his yells echoing, You can't do this to me, Lena. But I turn my back, head high, walking out of the hall like I've shed a massive weight. The fight's not over yet. A week later, Jake sues me, claiming defamation and clawing for Dreamscape's control. I step into the LA courtroom with Rachel by my side, my lawyer prepped like a general for battle. Jake sits across from me, his wrinkled suit and hateful stare, a far cry from his old swagger. Sophie's a no-show. Guess she bailed after the public flop. The judge, a middle-aged man with a voice like thunder, calls Jake up. He stands, voice shaky. Lena smeared me. Dreamscape was my idea from the start. She just executed it. Rachel rises, her smile cool and confident. Your Honor, we've got proof otherwise. She hands over a pile of evidence. Original contracts with my signature. Jake's emails admitting I'm the mastermind. The press conference recording. The judge scans it, his sharp eyes pinning Jake. Mr. Carter, anything to justify plotting to seize the company? Jake fumbles, words failing him. Rachel lands the knockout. We ask the court to dismiss Mr. Carter's claim and affirm Lena's ownership of Dreamscape. The judge nods, his voice a final decree. Case dismissed. Dreamscape is Lena's. Mr. Carter covers all costs. I walk out of the courtroom, feeling like I've emerged from a bloody war as the last one standing. Jake slumps there, head bowed, a total wreck. I don't look back. LA stretches out before me, and I know this is just the beginning. He wanted to break me, but I turned his scheme into my launchpad to soar. I've never felt stronger. I step out of the LA courthouse, the midday sun blazing on my face. But inside, I feel a cool relief, like a giant rock's been lifted off my chest after months of strain. Jake didn't just lose the lawsuit. He lost his reputation, his dreams, and the delusion he could trample me to climb higher. I don't glance back at him, don't need to. My red heels click triumphantly on the sidewalk, and I know from this moment, Los Angeles will only remember me. Lena, the woman who turned a nightmare into a springboard. In the days that follow, news of Jake's collapse spreads through the city like wildfire. Entertainment rags from Variety to TMZ splash bold headlines. Businessman Jake Carter crashes after company. Coup fails. Lena stands tall as queen. I sit in my office, sipping hot coffee, scrolling through the articles with a quiet smirk. He wanted to make me a public failure, but now he's Hollywood's punchline. Word is he showed up at a West Hollywood bar a few days after the press conference, but no one shook his hand. Investors who'd promised him cash turned their backs, labeling him a bad bet. Sophie, the 21-year-old he pinned his hopes on, vanished from the scene. A friend says she was spotted leaving LA on a Greyhound bus, a tiny suitcase in hand, her eyes blank like she'd just woken from a fool's dream. Jake doesn't quit there. He tries to salvage some dignity with a pitiful social media post. I've been misunderstood. Lena twisted the truth to ruin me. I only wanted the best for Dreamscape. No one bites. The comments below unleash a storm. Traitor! You think we're dumb enough to buy that? Lena's the real deal. I don't bother replying. The crowd's got my back. He deletes the post in hours, but the internet never forgets. Memes of him flood online. His pale face at the press conference, His dreamscape was my idea line, twisted into a joke. Jake, the 36-year-old once strutting in glossy suits, is now a faded shadow, swallowed whole by LA's merciless jaws. While Jake sinks into the mess he made, I rise like an unstoppable flame. Dreamscape Events explodes after the fiasco. Big-name clients, blockbuster directors, pop stars, blow up my phone, begging for grander events than ever. One afternoon, as I review a contract with a tech billionaire, my phone rings. The voice on the other end stops me cold. "Lena, it's Ava, manager for a huge singer. We want you for this year's biggest music awards. After what you did to Jake, we know you're the one to trust." I smile, heart racing. "Thanks, Ava. I'll make it a night the world won't forget." And I do. 3 months later, the gala lights up the Dolby Theater, flashes popping nonstop, Dreamscape's name on every channel. I stand center stage in a shimmering gown, gazing at the roaring crowd, feeling like LA is bowing at my feet. But my win isn't just the big gigs. It's the respect, the admiring looks from people who once doubted me. One day, meeting a client at my favorite Pasadena cafe, a young girl approaches, voice shy. "Miss Lena, I'm your fan. Your story, it's inspired me not to give up on my job." I look at her, eyes bright with hope, and my heart warms. "Thank you," I say, resting a hand on her shoulder. "Never let anyone steal your dream, okay?" She nods, and I realize my story's more than a personal victory. It's a spark lighting up others. Jake, meanwhile, keeps paying. I hear he sold his prized sports car, the one he flaunted everywhere, to cover court fees the judge dumped on him. He's holed up in a tiny suburban LA apartment, far from Hollywood's glow, scraping by on freelance gigs no one cares about. A friend says he tried applying to a small event firm, but a Google search of his name pulled up the Dreamscape scandal. Nobody'd touch him. Sophie, after ditching him, seems back at school, posting vague updates about learning from mistakes. I don't blame her. She was just a pawn in Jake's game, and now they've both lost big. I don't rest on my laurels. Dreamscape grows, and I open a new office in central LA, hanging a huge photo from the awards night. Not to brag, but to remind myself how far I've come. One evening, as I plan a blockbuster premiere, Rachel calls. "Lena, guess what?" Jake tried appealing. Judge shot it down instantly. "He's done!" I laugh, feeling like it's a punchline. "Thanks, Rachel. He never learns, does he?" She chuckles. "Nope. But you taught him a lesson he'll carry forever." Success doesn't make me cocky. It humbles me, showing me real strength isn't in revenge, but in rising from the ashes. I start free workshops for young women entrepreneurs, sharing my story, teaching them to guard their dreams. At one packed session, I grab the mic. I was betrayed by the person I trusted most, but I didn't let it define me. Neither should you. Prepare, stand strong, and never let anyone dim your light. The crowd erupts in applause, my eyes stinging, not from sorrow, but pride. Jake thought that email would destroy me, but he didn't know he'd handed me wings to fly higher. LA's my playground now, and Dreamscape's a fire no one can quench. I step out of my new office, staring at the starry night sky, a fresh strength surging inside. He wanted me to fall, but I soared, brighter than ever. And I know this is just the start of a chapter I get to write. I stand on my new Dreamscape office balcony, gazing down at LA's twinkling lights, feeling like the city's breathing in sync with me. Jake tried to snuff out my fire, but he didn't realize his scheme only fanned it into a blaze stronger than ever. From that ruthless email, I turned pain into power, betrayal into fuel, and here I am, not just a survivor, but a victor. Dreamscape isn't just a company, it's proof of my grit, a beacon for anyone shoved to the bottom who dares to climb back up. Looking back, I see a simple, brutal truth. Life's never fair, but you can make it fair by preparing and never quitting. Jake thought he could snatch my dream because I trusted him, but I taught him, and myself, that trust isn't weakness. It's something you shield with smarts and resolve. He's a faint memory now, rotting in a shabby suburban flat, while I steer Dreamscape to new peaks. Award shows, blockbuster premieres. inspiring hundreds through my workshops. I don't need revenge. My success is the sharpest blow he'll ever feel. Every day, I walk into my office with gratitude. Not for beating Jake, but for finding myself in the wreckage he left. I once thought losing him was losing everything, but now I know sometimes losing someone reveals your true strength. LA watched me fall and rise, and I want everyone to know they can too. If someone tries to steal your dream, don't crumble. Gear up, fight back, and turn pain into the fuel to soar. That's the lesson I'm sharing, not just with workshop crowds, but with all of you hearing my story. Thank you for following my journey. I'm truly grateful. I hope it hits you, even just a little. Drop a comment below. What challenge have you overcome? What got you back on your feet? I'd love to hear your stories. For now, I'll keep writing Dreamscape's next chapter. And my own. Under LA's dazzling sky.